Alright guys, before we get into this, I'm going to do a quick intro, then we'll get into the rest. I'm getting more and more questions about how to solo Argos, so I thought I'd make a video covering all the parts of the fight, and also talking about what armor and weapons are best, and just some tips to make this go a lot easier. I'm going to be going over all this stuff pretty fast, just because I don't want to have a 40-minute video, so if I'm going quick, you might just have to re-watch it a couple times. I also never did a video like this before, so go easy. This first part is just going over the armor I recommend using, along with the class you should be on. Don't worry about the weapons just yet, we're going to cover that in a different part. First is the helmet. It doesn't matter too much, I just use this one because it has grenade launcher reserves. But if you're using different weapons, different reserves will help. You could also just use stuff like ammo finders. Next is the gloves, these are pretty important. You always want to keep the striking hand one on. This is what helps you break the shield. If you don't have these gloves on and use them properly, you won't break the shield solo. And then also in this quick swap spot, I have giving hand, just so I can quickly punch some ads and hopefully get heavy ammo. These are from Year 1 Leviathan, but also if you have like these gauntlets from Crown of Sorrow, like these have grenade launcher scavenger on them. You can put on the striking hand mod on that, so I can use this perk along with the striking hand mod. Next is the chest piece. Doesn't matter too much, this is just what I always keep on since it's a pretty generic set. The boots, since I'm using grenade launchers, I use Lunafaction boots just so I don't have to reload, obviously. But if I'm using something different than grenade launchers for damage, I'll usually run transversive steps or just something other, like a non-exotic, that are mobility based. And then the class item, this is really important as well. Emperor's Blaze. It gives you 25% more damage for your abilities, and using Well of Radiance counts for your abilities. And then onto the subclass, you obviously want to be Middle Tree Dawnblade, which is the Well of Radiance super. Then I like using the Solar Grenade, Healing Rift just for safety, and then I always stay on Burst Glide for the jump. Okay, once you get your armor figured out, there's some stuff you should do before you actually start the fight and get going with it. First thing is breaking his cannons, because you can easily do it before you start, and it's just rough having them there when you're trying to complete the encounter. So I'm using Anarchy right now, but you can also do it with legendary snipers or even pulse rifles, scout rifles. Pretty much anything can do it. Anarchy is the easiest because you just shoot it one time and then it's going. So I see the red hit markers going, so that's how I know that it's actually doing damage to it. And also I'm using Recluse, so on the left side of my screen the Master of Arms comes up when that cannon's down. And then I come over to this spot in front of the solar plate. I jump up into the shield and then shoot another Anarchy at the other cannon. And then I'm also getting the red hit markers for that one, meaning it's doing damage. And then soon on the left side of my screen, Master Arms pops up. So now the cannons are dead, and they won't shoot you at all for the rest of the fight. Unless you wipe, then you have to do that all over again. And then another tip is to use a timer. I use a speedrun timer, it's called Live Splits. You just press one button and the timer starts. And then I press the same button again, then it pauses it, and then another one, then it resets it. When I pick up this cranium, on the bottom left of my screen, a message will come up. It'll say Argos begins energy collection, and then from that point you have 2 minutes and 25 seconds to complete the phase. If you take longer than that, then he'll just open up for a stun phase, and then you move on to the next one. So if you miss the phase, you're done with that, you don't get it back. You have a total of 4 phases to kill him, so if you mess up with that one phase, you only have 3 left. After that, I just double check my armor, make sure I'm running everything I want to have on. After that, I'm ready to pick up the cranium and start. So you did the cannons and you're ready to start. I have my timer on the screen, you can see it. I obviously don't have it there when I'm playing. I have it off on my second screen, but even if you don't have a second screen, you could just move the timer onto like the top right corner since nothing's up there. You can just keep it there. I have the timer binded to my DPI change button. So the DPI change button is set to K. So when I press K, it starts it. I press that button again, K meaning the DPI change button. It stops the timer, and I press that button again and it resets it. So it's all done by the same button, and it just cycles through starting it, stopping it, then resetting it. Alright, so I moved the timer to my other screen because that's where I normally have it. And when you pick up the cranium, there's going to be 3 bubbles around his shield. It's either going to be blue for arc, orange for solar, and on the other side of Argos, there's the void plate for purple. If you're going for this challenge, you probably obviously know that stuff already by doing this fight before. Let's say he's facing arc, and it's a arc and then 2 voids. That's good. If he's facing arc and it's 2 arcs and a solar, that's also good. So anything like that is good. If he's facing a void side and it's 2 voids and a solar, that's good. But let's say he's facing solar side and it's 1 of each. That's not good because you have to bring over 2 craniums to that plate to break the shield, and that's hard to do, especially for the first phase, and especially because this is probably your first time getting a solo kill. So anything where you have to juggle is bad. So if he's facing arc side and it's 2 void and a solar, that's also not good because you have to bring over the void cranium and the solar cranium to the arc side to break the shield, and that'll lose you a lot of time, especially on the first phase. Okay, so we went through all that. I'm ready to pick up the cranium. On the bottom left, the message will pop up, and right when I see that message, I'm gonna start my timer. Alright, so I can see it through the shield. It's 2 voids and then the 1 arc. So this is a good rotation. So I'm gonna start off by running to arc. Whatever plate he's facing, you want to end up on that side last. So I'm running to arc to plant this one, and I'm coming back to plant solar. No matter what it is, you always want to plant all 3 of the craniums. So 1 at each of the element stations. So I'm coming through to plant this one at solar. And then now I'm going to go take the void one and plant it there. And then once I'm there, I'm going to start to clear the ads. So now I have 1 cranium at each plate, and I have this 1 void for both of those voids. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to go grab that arc one and then bring in this bubble to the middle. Alright, I showed you how to get started and how you should be planting the craniums when you first start, and about the rotations you should be starting on, and then how you should be clearing the ads. So I'm going to go through and show you what a full phase from me looks like, and I'm also going to show you how to set up for breaking the shield. I'm getting ready to click the timer on the bottom when I see it, and since it's 2 solars in an arc, that's a good one to run. So I'm running to arc first because I want to end up on the solar plate. So I'm going to plant 1 at every station just so I can be prepared for the next phase. And when I end up at the solar side, I'm going to start clearing the ads. I usually take down at least 5 of the harpies so the second wave spawns, and I focus on some of the ground ads, and then after that I go back to clearing up the harpies. So I killed 5 harpies, and then the new wave's going to start to spawn. And while that new wave's spawning, I'm going to start working on some of these smaller ground ads and killing the minotaur, who will pop up shortly. So these second wave of harpies are up. I have my lunar rift down so I can clear these ones pretty quickly. And this whole time I'm keeping an eye on my timer. Right now it's at a minute 10. So around a minute 30, I'm going to start running to the arc plate to bring the cranium over. Ran out of ammo, which is pretty unlucky, but it's fine. I'm going to keep going. every time I take one of these craniums away, I'm going to be planting a new one in. So I'm going to be taking this arc one away, so I put a fresh one in so it's ready for the next phase. That way you're just always prepared for the next phase, and that way on the second phase through fourth phase, you have enough time to clear the ads. I'm gonna put my well down. I'm gonna shoot 2 of the ads headless. I have the 1 cranium, or the 1 arc, and then the solars. So I'm gonna punch and get the striking hand buff. I'm gonna shoot in the arc, and then quickly switch to the solars, and then bring in these 2. It will take some practice to get used to, but you can for sure shoot 2 of the bubbles in while using striking hand. If your striking hand runs out, you won't be able to break the shield. Alright, so you know how to break the shield now and what you have to do to get up to that point. So we're going to start talking about DPS and the weapons you should be using. So right now in Season 7 of Destiny, the best way to damage this boss is to be using Mountaintop and Anarchy. I get that both of these are kind of hard to get, since Anarchy is an RNG drop from Scourge, the raid, and Mountaintop's a PvP quest, which is, I don't know, it has some weird steps you have to complete. But right now, this is the best combo you could be using, along with Recluse for clearing the ads, which is also a PvP weapon. But if you don't have this stuff, there's for sure some other combos you could be using. You could use something like Darcy with Lunas as well. Throw on a kinetic sniper to break the guns in the beginning and for the crit spots. Or you could use another kinetic grenade launcher that's not Mountaintop. There's a lot in the game. I like using Recluse for clearing the ads. If you don't have Recluse, there's some other options. Having something that's Void is best because the Minotaurs have Void shields. So that'll make it easiest to take them down quickly. But if you want, there's options like Orwing's Maul, which is a pretty good energy slot grenade launcher. So you could use something like Orwing's Maul with Darcy. So you would put down your well when you're starting damage, you spam all of your Darcy shots, and then you switch to Orwing Maul for the rest of the phase. And then something for a setup like that, you would have I would go for a pulse rifle or a hand cannon like Midnight Coup or spare rations. But pulse rifles are pretty good for clearing the harpies and the ads. If you have some questions about weapon combos that will work that I didn't go over, you can message me or type it in the comments. I'll be sure to answer it. Whisper was the go-to for all the seasons before this because of the infinite ammo, but since that nerf, it's not the best, but it's for sure still possible with Whisper. I have a video of me using it with Whisper, and it wasn't too hard. You just have to switch over to stuff like Giving Hand and pick up ammo in between each phase. But Whisper is still pretty good to do DPS with. And then if I am using Whisper, I'd use Whisper in the heavy, Recluse in this slot, and then I'd have this sniper for my kinetic, so I can just have full special ammo when I'm getting ready to break the crits. So since this is the easiest setup for this season right now, that's what I'm going to be showing you. So, because if you're going for your first kill, you obviously want it to be easy and you're not want to add any extra challenges on top of what it is already. So for now, I'm going to be showing you what I'll be doing for DPS when I use Anarchy and Mountaintop. Alright, so in this phase I'm going to be showing you what you should be doing during DPS if you're using Mountaintop and Anarchy. So I'm getting ready to break the shield, so I'm bringing this empty cranium over to Solar. I'm going to pick up this charged one and take it back over to Arc. I'm going to put my well down, take a look at the shield to see what I need. I'm going to shoot 2 of the headless goblins so they can come up at me, so I can punch them more easily. So I see I got 2 solars and the 1 arc. I'm going to go ahead and punch him. Start shooting this solar in, shoot in the other one. and then switch off to the arc and finish off. For the arc side, I like putting my well up here, and then I go in for the melee, shoot Anarchy, and I just start firing with Mountaintop. Once the exploding harpies get close to me, I shoot Anarchy again, and then I finish off Mountaintop. So I shot Anarchy, I dodged the net, and I'm going to start doing DPS again. The phase is over, I'm going to switch over to my sniper. But first I'm going to shoot 3 of these, because you can tank 3 of them, and then you'll still be fine. I got to pick up from special ammo. And since I didn't have a lot of special ammo on the ground, I'm going to run to the back crits, because those are the easiest ones to kill. If I had a lot of special ammo on the ground, I'd go up, and then get his back and his arm. But since I'm here, it takes 4 shots with this sniper to kill a crit. So I got the crit down, and then I'm going to take a look at his health. That's pretty good damage if you're doing it in 4 phases. I'm going to reset my timer just so I can be ready for the next phase. I'm going to start looking for ammo. I'm going to switch back to Mountaintop. Pick up some ammo if I can find it. And since there's no arc charging right now, I'm going to go through and grab this arc and put it back at the plate. I'm looking on the bottom left, getting ready for that message to start my timer for the second phase. I see the message starting the timer. I'm going to take a look at the shield. I see the arc, the solar, and then on the other side it's the arc. So now I'm ready. I have the solar charging, and I just planted the arc. So now I have all this time to clear the ads, which makes the second phase and on a lot easier than the first phase, because you have a lot more time to clear the ads, since you already have those planted from the rounds before. The ads, the harpies in particular, act differently in the other phases. So you saw in the first phase they all stayed towards the top, but now they started to fly down towards me. They just act a little bit differently. It doesn't change anything else, it just means you have to be looking at a different spot. So I want to make sure I'm getting full special ammo. I'm up to 18 right now. I'm going to be looking for more, hopefully getting up to 21. Alright, so now I'm up to 21. I'm max on special ammo, so I'm ready for the next phase. I'm looking at my timer, getting ready for around the 130 mark. I'm going to go over and grab the solar. We're at around 125 right now, but the ads look pretty clear, so I'm going to start heading over. I'm going to grab this cranium here and charge that arc just so it's ready for the next phase. When I'm up here, I'm going to put my well down and shoot 2 headless ads just like I did before. One to break the shield and another one to get striking hand during damage. And a lot of people ask how I get my super back. If you look down, you can see it. Whenever I break or bring in one of the elements, I get 1/3 of my super back. So that's 1/3 right there, 2/3 there, and when I shoot in this last one, I'm going to have full super. Put down my well. Shoot Anarchy, get my striking hand, and I start doing DPS with Mountaintop just like last phase. When the harpies get close, I'm going to do the same thing and shoot Anarchy. I'm going to come over here, dodge the net, and then keep shooting Mountaintop. I'm out of Mountaintop shots, going to switch to my sniper. Start looking for ammo to break the crits. There's no exploding harpies this round. Sometimes it just happens like that. I'm going to come up here and go for the crits. I like starting with the arm first since it usually starts to move towards the end. 4 shots with that one and it's down. I'm going to look up here, put another 4 shots in, and that one's done. Reset my timer, switch to Mountaintop, and then start looking for ammo again. So we're already at full ammo right now. I'm looking in the bottom, getting ready for the message to pop up. I'm going to replant the solar cranium because we just used that one. On that last run, we got through 2 phases of damage, and Argos has 13.5 million. And after those 2 phases, we had a little over 8 million damage in. So 8 times 2 for the 4 phases is 16 million. So we only need 13.5. So we got 16 million. We only need a 13.5. So even if you're not doing DPS as efficient, this is for sure still the easiest combo to do it in. Back when Whisper was the main weapon to do this with, the damage was a lot tighter, and it was a lot easier to fail because you fell short of damage. I'm going to go through each plate and show you some of the spots I put my well down and where I clear the adds at. So at Void plate, I put the well right here behind the plate to break the shield. And when the shield's broken, I run over here, put down my well of radiance, so it's behind this rock, and then the well can't hit it. And then also the adds will follow you here, and you get strike in hand. And when I'm clearing adds on this plate, I usually stand at this rock so I can peek both sides. And I also stand right here so I can kind of head glitch the harpies and see the add spawning out of this door. Just like on Void side, when I'm breaking the shield, I put my well down right here. And that's the same for all the elements. I just put it right behind where the 3 charging stations are at. For damage, after I break the shield, for DPS on Arc side, I come back here and put my well down behind this block. That way the nets from Argos don't hit it, and you can peek each side of the box and you'll still be in your well. Spots on Arc plate for clearing adds. This spot right here is pretty good. You can peek both sides and see the harpy spawns. And you can also come back here and kill the adds that are spawning out of this door. Just like the other 2 plates, I put my well here when I'm breaking the shield. And then for damage, I like putting it over here. Behind this rock, the well never hits it. Some people like putting the well right here behind this rock, or up here behind this one. But I'm not a big fan of those spots because sometimes the nets still come through if you don't place it perfectly. And sometimes these rocks can mess up your shots when you're shooting grenade launchers or any other weapon. Solar's the worst side for clearing adds. So I usually just stand up here behind this rock. You can see the harpies right here. And if you peek out on this rock, you can get the other side right here. Also, coming around this corner, you can look down and camp this door. And then for the other door, you just hop down here and you can kind of strafe back and forth if you don't want to get hit too much. Alright guys, I got a couple last things to say, then I'll be done. It will take you a long time to get your first kill probably. It took me probably 25-30 hours to get my first solo kill. And that was with using Whisper, which is probably a little bit harder than what it is now. So just hang in there. Some tips for not getting mad or upset: just listen to some music. RNG will probably get you a couple times, so don't get too mad about it. There's nothing you can really do when he gives you some bad rotations a couple times in a row. You'll probably come close to completing it and fail a couple times, but just keep doing it. When you finally finish it, you'll be a lot happier. Be sure to read the description because I'll probably type in some stuff that I forgot to say throughout the video, and I'm going to make a playlist of all the solo Argos codes I have and put them in there, from the newest ones up top to my oldest ones at the bottom. So you can look back and see some of the different stuff I did and some of the different stuff I tried. And you can also watch back those to see some of the full runs and how to manage yourself throughout the 4 phases. That's everything I got, guys. If you got any questions, you can message me, comment them, talk to me on Discord, Twitter, anything. I'll answer you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for making it to the end, and good luck on your runs.